Hey y'all, so this is my first video in a long while. I went back to the United States after moving to Portugal because I needed to take care of a couple of things, some very important things. And I wanted to make a video about the timeline on which you move out of the country if you're thinking about moving out of the country. So my original timeline from moving out of the country from the time I made the decision was about 8 months. But I returned because I had a custody issue that I needed to take care of. And I want to make this video for people that kind of have the same situation in which you may share custody, even if you don't, you're just somebody who's single and you have children, how it's important that you go ahead and take care of the paperwork. Because the way I had it was I was just going to have this verbal agreement with my children's father, and we were just going to talk about, he was like, you could just talk to me whenever you want the kids. I found out quickly that didn't work. That didn't work because a lot of times it left me in limbo. It left me always trying to figure out, how I was going to make certain decisions if he wasn't communicating. A lot of times he would take his time communicating. It was always a wait and see, and you can't make solid plans when you're always in a state of flux like that. And I felt like one of the reasons I moved out of the U.S. is to take fully control of my life. And I felt like that part of me was in the control or hands of someone else. So I returned to the US and it took me 2 months. So y'all know I've been gone for a while. It took me 2 months to get through the process of first getting the court to recognize that I moved out of the US, which is my choice as a free adult in this world. And I also put on record the reasons why, cost of living and things like that. And then I ended up asking for a change in the visitation schedule to support me moving abroad. And that comes with you having to discuss communication, how that's going to happen. You have to discuss how you're going to pay for it and things like that. All of that stuff is painful. It is painful to go through because of the process and the time it takes, but it is well worth it once you get through that process. And I keep saying anybody can do this. Even if you're a single parent, you can do this. You can go to the court and say, hey, I really need to know what is my status, what is my status with my kids. I want that in writing, and I want a visitation schedule on paper in writing. And so now that I have that, it's such a relief, and I'm able to plan accordingly. So I know exactly the next time I'm gonna have my children. I know exactly what I have to plan for because all the costs are on me. When you make a move like that, all the costs will fall on you. And believe it or not, I was okay with that because at least I knew how, I could take control of saving and making those plans and not leaving in the hands of someone else. And again, that made me feel like I had no control over my life. So I wanted to talk about that. That's the reason why I was gone. And another thing is I wanted to be able to drive when I got back. And that is such another video because that still isn't resolved. That's the only thing that I didn't get 100% resolved because of the process of getting your driver's records. You have to get your driver's records notarized in some places. I had to get my driver's record from 2 states because I learned that it depends. Like you need to have, so if you moved out of state and you have a driver's record in a new state, how long is that driver's record for? Because if it's not at least for, I would say 5 years, you have to return to whatever state you were in or request from whatever state you were in prior to that state and ask them for a driver's record as well. And each state has their own process for apostille. So I finally did get them both apostille, both of my driver's records apostille, but not in time enough for me to bring them back with me. I have to wait until my children get here and they'll bring me my copies. And then I start the process over here. So there's a process that you do over here. And this is also, I'll be able to drive by a car if I want to, which I'm proud to say I don't need a car here. I don't need, that was one of the reasons I moved here is because I'm able to afford a place where I can walk to everything I need to walk to and I can get on the train, I can get on the buses in here in Cascais where I live are free to if you live here, they're free. So I just wanted to talk about those things that I went back to the States for. And I want to do a part two of this video because this part two is going to be some of the things that I've come to grips with, you know, about leaving and why I need to leave behind some of the things in the US. I have to leave them behind. And it's for a peace of mind. And I'll do a part two to this video. I just wanted to jump on here and give you an update that I'm back. I got my custody agreement all taken care of. Yes, that tacked on extra time that it took for me to jump out of the US, but I wouldn't change it because I needed that peace of mind and I needed to complete the record for moving. So a lot of other things have changed with me and a lot of them are good. I have a part-time job now that's virtual. A lot of people ask me, how do you make money? Where do you, I mean, I've had it asked in all kinds of ways, a lot of times rudely. We don't want to hear anything other than how do you make your money? I literally went on a quest to find something part-time and all I did was look at virtual positions and I got it in my field. So if you don't know, I'm in hospitality and tourism and event management. And all I did was look specifically at virtual job. I wouldn't even look at it. It was a physical job. So I found one and you can too. If I could find one as a retiree, you can too. So I'm proud to say that I do work part-time now from home. And my job accepts that I live in Portugal, which is very nice. But I'm going to do part two in a minute to talk to you in depth about some of the things that I feel should be talked about when we talk about timeline of moving out of the country. And I want to talk about some of the things I feel like I need to leave behind in the U.S. because I've made a peaceful life here and I want to start to enjoy my peaceful life. I'll talk to you soon.